Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Coins are the new toilet paper. Let's explore. That's right. Chris Garner and several other members of the community made me aware of this very interesting dynamic based off of the pandemic when we had a toilet paper shortage. Well, now, apparently, after things have been shuttered, including the United States Mint for a while, we now have a coin shortage. Very surprising indeed. This is something that has been shared and has been talked about here in certain news sources here. So just as supplies of toilet paper are finally getting back to normal, the coronavirus has triggered another shortage of something we typically take for granted, pocket change, especially considering that many of us don't even use cash. We use debit cards or credit cards for our transactions each day. Banks around the United States are running low on nickels, dimes, quarters, and even pennies or cents. And the Federal Reserve, which supplies banks, has been forced to ration scarce supplies. It was just a surprise, said Gay Dempsey, who runs the Bank of Lincoln County in Tennessee, when she learned of the rationing order. Nobody was expecting it. Dempsey's bank typically dispenses 400 to 500 rolls of pennies each week. Under the rationing order, her allotment was cut down to just 100 rolls. Wow, that is quite a cutback, with similar cutbacks in nickels, dimes, and quarters. And that spells trouble for Dempsey's business customers who needs the coins to stock cash registers all around Lincoln County, Tennessee. You think about all your grocery stores and convenience stores and a lot of people that still operate with cash. Dempsey said they still have to just make change. And you think about it, I did talk about this in a prior video, how there was a study done. We're finding that the younger generations, generations X or Y, Z, are starting to utilize cash more often. And this is something that apparently there's some demand for pocket change out there. And that is quite telling, I believe, to see that cash is kind of making a comeback. And I think that's good to know. And I think the more people that utilize, even though this is just base metals, and give some sense of what money truly is and what it has been for quite a while. Rural banks, in particular, seem to be getting shortchanged, so to speak, according to Colin Barrett, who is the CEO of the Tennessee Bankers Association. Representative John Rose, a Republican from Tennessee, sounded the alarm last week during a shortage before the House Finance Services Committee. My fear is that customers who use these banks will react very poorly, Rose said, and I don't know that we all don't want to wake up to headlines in the near future such as banks out of money. It certainly would not be good. But of course, when you think about it, is this really money? This is currency, but I would say yes, because the vast majority of what you are looking at here is copper. Although these rolls here, I have saved a stack of copper cents. I don't really stack copper cents anymore, but once in a while I'm thinking about maybe starting again and holding some back just in case. These newer Lincoln cents are made of copper-coated zinc, but the quarters, dimes, and nickels are the vast majority, over 80% copper. The congressman warned that if businesses are unable to make exact change, they'll be forced to round up or round down in a time when pennies are the difference between profitability and loss. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell assured Rose that the central bank is monitoring the situation closely. We are working with the Mint to increase supply, and we're working with the reserve banks to get the supply where it needs to be, Powell said. So we think it's a temporary situation. The U.S. Mint produced fewer coins than usual this spring in an effort to protect employees from infection. But the larger problem, as with many other pandemic shortages, is distribution. During the lockdown, many banks lobbies where people can recycle coins were off limits, and coin sorting kiosks and retail stores saw reduced traffic. With many businesses closed, unusual coins piled up in darkened cash drawers, like what you see here, in pant pockets and on nightstands, even as banks went begging. The flow of coins through the economy kind of stopped, Powell said. It is kind of an unusual circumstance with people not going out as much. We're seeing that kind of situation where the shortages are starting to have an effect. And so it's not that there's a shortage of coins. As you see here, there's plenty of them, but they're not in circulation. And where they're needed at the right places at the right time, they're not available. The flow of coins throughout the economy did stop. The Fed chairman stressed that the clog in the financial plumbing should clear quickly now that businesses are reopening and the supplies of coins should be back to normal. Coinstar, which operates 17,000 coin sorting kiosks around the country, says people have started cashing in more change as stay-at-home orders are lifted. And by the way, Coinstar, I think, takes about 8, 9, maybe 10%. I haven't used them. But they take a pretty good percentage of the profits there, or when they're utilizing their services. We've been making more frequent coin pickups to help get coins back into circulation, said Coinstar CEO John Geraghty. In the meantime, Dempsey, the banker who has secured an emergency stash of coins from some of her business customers who run vending machines and laundromats. While a growing number of people rely on credit cards or smartphone apps for many transactions today, the coin crunch is a reminder that sometimes you just need change. And it sums up with this: cash is still king, I guess, Dempsey mused. And that is true. And I think that's still something to be said for what you see before you here, because copper is money, and it's noted here in these assortment of coins here. The nickel, as common as this coin is, this particular coin contains 75% copper and 25% nickel. So it is mostly a copper coin. And obviously you see the clad layers for the quarter there and dimes in the back. You know, those are copper. Vast majority, 80% or so, copper. But, it goes to show you, it'd be nice if we got back to real money, that is silver to be utilized in our transactions again. I believe that would be something that would maybe even bring more awareness out there. And it would be nice if the United States Mint and Congress would allot a new dollar coin about this size or different size than the quarter or something, and make it out of silver. Can you imagine what that would do? It's kind of a topic for another video, but it's an interesting concept to think about that could bring awareness. Of course, it'll never happen because the government doesn't want you to be aware of what silver is and what makes it so special. But boy, any discerning eye can tell the difference between this and that with the metallic content contained therein. But silver is money, and so is copper. And copper, in a sense, is still being utilized as money today in our coins, and there's a demand for it. And so I think it's quite telling and gives you something to think about. But, is coins the new toilet paper? Well, in some cases it is. It's not quite as crazy, though, as the headline is, but in some businesses and with some of the demand, it certainly is. Something. It's all about supply chains. There's no shortage, but it's about supply crunch. And that's what we've seen in the precious metals market out there. And this is something that will continue. But it's fascinating, and I think in some ways it's encouraging to hear this news, because then it just lets us know that there is still demand and there's still need for coinage in the marketplace today. So I know this a little handful of coins I pulled from my stash. What I do is I save up and then I cash out and utilize for other expenses and the like. But that's it's a way to save too, to hold your pocket change. As those of us who do use cash on a daily basis, it gives you another way to save. Now, in cash, any change you get back, so that you don't have, because you're more likely to kind of spend these dollar bills. But when you have change hanging around, it just weighs your pocket down. So you take it out each day and you set it aside. And this you can put in your wallet, and you end up utilizing it. But these coins you save so that you can spend it. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again to Chris Garner and others for sharing this information with me. We'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.